Good morning and welcome to Sunday morning's meditation here at City of Light Atlanta. I'm Reverend John and I'll be taking you on this journey. We'll be going for about 10 minutes, so it's a nice and short meditation, and you don't need to worry, I'll be keeping up with the time. So let's first just sit back and become comfortable. And let's give our attention to our breathing. Just feel your breath going in and out, and in and out. And as you're aware of your breathing, let's drop down our shoulders. All of us that spend the week on the computer hold our tension in our shoulders and we just want to drop them down. And let's relax our jaw. Be sure your teeth are not touching. And as you do this, you're focused on your breathing as well. And so it's a cloudy day here. And we're going to push those clouds on through and allow the pure white light of Spirit flow down through perfectly blue skies into our bodies, into our physical body. As it is doing this, it is filling our spiritual body as well. I'd like you to just visualize that. There is nothing but light in us, flowing into us, radiating out of us. As we are porous and there are no borders, it simply comes in and goes out all the way around us, and we have this beautiful aura of perfect white light. And as we hold that light, hold that vision, we see that we do not run out. It is continuously flowing. From an unending well of perfection and love and joy flowing right into us. We are each part of that circuit. We send it right back out, even as our whole self is illumined. And we relax and breathe as we're doing this. We don't let our mind wander. We come back to our breath if it does. We relax because we're allowing this to happen. We're not forcing it. It's a very natural process. We're allowing and we're experiencing. And we know this day is pregnant with possibility. As we stay in the here and now, all things are possible. Our habit is to seek out what we were thinking yesterday, but that does not serve, so we consciously and proactively clear our mind, see the light that we are, see the beautiful blue sky, and choose what we will experience today. We're going to leave yesterday behind. Yesterday's thoughts block our good today, so we proactively leave it. Focus on the light, beautiful clear sky. And as we do this, we listen. Whatever we need will come in. And as we get ready to release this, we're going to call the Christ consciousness into all that we'll experience this day. We have the faith to know that as we do this, it will indeed be here with us. And so we call the Christ consciousness into our conversations this day. We call the Christ consciousness into our thoughts and our feelings this day. We call the Christ consciousness into our communications this day by email, by text, by whatever method we use. Call the Christ consciousness into our physical bodies for a healing of anything creeping in that is unlike the perfection of the Creator. As we know it, as we do this, we know our day is indeed blessed. So we release it and we open up and we stay steady. Releasing anything negative that might pop up during the day, we stay steady. As we claim and recall the Christ consciousness with us for the full day, and even into this evening, it does not leave us. And we can release this as we say together, Amen. Please hang out with us. The music is starting. The service comes on at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we don't want you to miss it here at City of Light Atlanta. Namaste.
Welcome each and every one of you to our Sunday service, a celebration here at City of Light in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Reverend Dr. Paul Gratz, and it's a delight to welcome those of you who are joining us through our live streaming and our YouTube channel as well. The delight to gather everyone together in this spirit and this wonderful presence that we feel here and now. It's all about celebrating the divine within us. And today, we want to welcome everyone, make sure everyone feels at home in this gathering together. So So we're going to begin with these welcoming words that describe our mission, our message, who we are, and how we hope to accomplish all of this. To join together with me in these words, would you please? Welcome to City of Light. This is a place where people of like mind come together to recognize in Christ consciousness that there truly is only one power, ever present and all-knowing. We offer a positive and practical approach to a lifetime of spiritual growth. We know we are all spiritual beings having a physical experience in this world. We celebrate our diversity, welcoming everyone in unity. We know that how we act is the greatest expression of what we believe. So we live out our calling to be a light for the world, a light of love, truth, and understanding that is making a difference. And so it is. We join together in this opening song that says, I shall not be moved. It's a beautiful song that's from a passage in the Psalms. It is proclaiming that we are strong in our direction, our purpose, and our understanding. It is says, the psalmist writes it, that I shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the waters. Its roots go down deep. Its roots are secure. Its roots are being nurtured. And those waters is the consciousness or the awareness of the divine within our life. When we are truly fully aware and awakened to the presence of God, you know what? We're not going to be moved. No matter what's happening in our world, no matter what circumstances we may face, no matter what obstacles, no matter what winds of change come against us, we're not going to be moved. We're going to remain strong and purposeful, focused in that divine presence. So please rise as you're able in body or in spirit and join with us as we sing this chorus, I shall not be moved.
I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. I am one with spirit, I shall not be moved. I am one with spirit, I shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. I shall not be moved. You shall not be moved. You shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. You shall not be moved. All things work together, I shall not be moved. God's goodness is forever, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. I shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved.
Amen. You may be seated. Having stated that purpose and mission, that we are grounded, ready to face anything with the divine presence of God leading and guiding us, we're not being moved. Our first act of celebration here at City of Light has always been a Do Unto Others offering. Today, we are collecting for the Crossroads Community Center and its immense work that it's doing in our community and caring for the hungry and the homeless. We so appreciate those of you who've been bringing in food. We appreciate your grocery donations for our food bank program. And we appreciate our volunteers who work each week in preparing hot meals for the hungry and the homeless around our area. We are so grateful for those of you who've donated clothing and supported our clothing closet that's providing fresh clothes, socks, underwear, shirts, T-shirts, pants, etc., for those who are in need each week. But we appreciate your generous giving that enables us to expand this program as well. As you give generously, enables us to do even more. So we greatly appreciate, and this enables us to truly do unto others in our world. So as our ushers pass these cans, we invite you to give generously And for those of you who are joining us through our live streaming program, well, we encourage you to go to our website at www.cityoflightatlanta.com. You'll find a donate button there, and you can offer your gifts. We greatly appreciate that. Here's what's happening in the life of City of Light this week, and we're excited to announce that we have a brand new class coming up on Thursday at 10:30. It's the power of positive energy within our life, and it's really a beautiful book that's describing how we might ignite this power within us, a positive understanding, a positive outlook, a positive vibration, a positive consciousness that really is so transforming. Begins this Thursday, at 10:30. You can join us for a live gathering on our third floor in the Dr. Angelo Pizzella Wisdom Center, or you can join us through Facebook or our YouTube channel, City of Light Atlanta. Either way, we invite you to be part of this exciting new class. It's based on this book, and you can purchase the book through Amazon.com. It is by Tanaz Chubb as the author, The Power of Positive Energy. It's a great book and a wonderful read, and what we're going to enjoy is discovering some experiences of vibrational raising within our individual life. You know, there's so much in our world today that wants to beat us down in thought, lower our energy, take us down into negativity and fear. We want to rise that up and learn how to maintain that and keep that in our spiritual life. Tuesdays at 7 p.m., we're continuing our study of the book, The Infinite Way by Joel S. Goldsmith. This book is so powerful as it's helping us understand spiritual truth that's so practical for our life. You know, one of the things we understand here at City of Light is a positive and practical spirituality, one that you can put to work on a day-to-day basis. There's a lot of times that we may understand a religious journey, and it sounds like it's really good, it sounds beautiful, but it doesn't feel more so practical and sometimes not very positive. But the Infinite Way will help you understand God's truth for our lives in this positive and practical way. Join us for these classes either through Facebook or our YouTube channel, or once again, we'd love to have you join us in person. Now, we also want to say thank you to those who've been working as volunteers throughout our Crossroads Community Center. We can't say enough about this wonderful ministry and its ongoing work. We appreciate so much our volunteers who are coming in each and every week. Really grateful for this and grateful for one another and for the support, as we mentioned earlier. We're thrilled to say that we are expanding the work with new ovens that we've been placed in our kitchens, and we're just thrilled with the way that God has been blessing this ministry. And we just want to stop for a moment and express great gratitude. You've received a prayer card when you came in today. It looks simply like this, and it's your bulletin. We ask you to simply fill out this prayer request card. Simply just write a phrase or two. We're going to share them with the over 500 people who join us each week through our City of Light Facebook page. That group page is reaching out to over 500. We're inviting them all to join us in the power of prayer. So simply write out your prayer request. We'll keep them as confidential as possible. And we want to write them out in a very affirming way. So when you read them, you're actually speaking the affirmative. You're going to say, you know, as you may say, the prayer request is for John Doe who needs healing. We're going to read it in a way that it says, John Doe is experiencing healing, or John Doe is healed. And in that consciousness, we're actually speaking the prayer, the answer that we so desire. So we encourage you to be a participant in our prayer ministry by simply filling out this prayer request card, then drop it in the offering baskets that go by. Just simply slip it in the slot there. We appreciate that. We'll be collecting them at the end of the day, and I will be publishing on Mondays through our Facebook page, so you can join in prayer with the many others. Then after we've been praying with them for 7 days, we've been sending them off to Silent Unity, our prayer ministry that we partner with each and every day. This is a prayer ministry that you can reach out at any time, calling a simple 800 number and know that someone's there to pray with you. But they're going to join in praying with our prayer requests that we send to them. And this is the power of prayer at work. So many people are invited to join in great faith, believing for the miraculous for your request. So please take a moment and complete that prayer request. As we do, let's just center our hearts now for what God has in store for us as we are just moving into this wonderful place of going deeper and deeper with a greater awareness of God is here within me, That presence is here within me. That presence is a blessing when we acknowledge it. Just that presence alone is something that says, I am so blessed. No matter what time of the day it is, when I wake up, when I go to bed, it doesn't matter. I'm just proclaiming that presence is blessing me. Join with me as we sing, I am blessed.
I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day that I live, I am blessed. When I wake up in the morning, till I lay my head to rest, I am blessed. I am blessed. I am loved. I am loved. Every day that I live, I am loved. From the depths of all the oceans to the stars that shine above, I am loved. I am loved. We are blessed. We are blessed. Every day that we live, we are blessed. When we wake up in the morning, till we lay our heads to rest, we are blessed. We are blessed. We are blessed. We are blessed.
Let us take this time to go into prayer. And so we sit back and close our eyes to what's going on in the world around us on purpose, so that we're no longer distracted by it as we give all our attention to that power and presence we call God. We know that power and presence is alive and well throughout all the universe. It is the organizing power, the creator, the brain, the intelligence, the wisdom that pulls it all together, that creates a tide from the moon to the earth, that creates the mountains, the great works of architecture that came through somebody's mind, beautiful works of art, the animal kingdom, everything that is beautiful and amazing around us. And we know that power is alive within each one of us right here and now, as it tells our hearts to beat. Our hearts have been beating all day. It tells our lungs to breathe. It tells the alveolar to exchange carbon dioxide with air. It is amazing that all this is going on and we are not even aware of it. And so at this time, we claim this is our power, this is our origin, this is our creator, this is what we are made of, and we allow it to be, and we choose to proactively go forward, claiming the wisdom of God, the intelligence of God, and even the love of God is not only ours, but ours to give. And in doing so, this is a much better day for each one of us, and all we need each day is to know something greater. And so we release this now and know that we are indeed knowing something greater in this very moment, as together we say, and so it is. Now you may stand up if you like and join in with us singing the Lord's Prayer.
Our Creator which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Thank you so much for all of our musicians. Appreciate you sharing your talents, and our multimedia team as well, and our ushers. Well, are you awake? Well, I hope so. Are you really awake? Have you stretched? Have you yawned? Are you alert? Are you fully conscious? Are you fully conscious physically? Are you fully conscious spiritually? There was an old country church pastor who gathered the congregation together, began to preach, and said, spiritually, we're comatose. We all need to wake up. And the congregation responded, we're waking up, Reverend. We're waking up. Next, he said, we need to start standing up. All the congregation responded, we'll stand up. Yes, Reverend, we'll stand up. Well, after that, he said, we need to start walking. Reverend, we're starting to walk. We're starting walking. Yes, we're walking. Well, we need to start running, the pastor said. Yes, the congregation responded, we'll start running. Yes, and when we start running, we need money. And they said, oh, we'll start walking. We'll start walking. Well, today I'm asking, are you comatose? Are you awake? Are you ready to start walking? Are you still ready to start running? Are you ready to start moving in the Spirit of God, in consciousness? Because God is speaking to us right here and right now. Are you familiar with the voice of God? Are you familiar with listening and hearing the voice of God on a day-to-day basis? You understand that this is a two-way street, our spiritual life? Because sometimes we think we're doing it all alone and we're carrying the burden all alone of this spiritual life. That we're carrying this all alone in a one-way relationship and it's all about us. And have we discovered the wonderful awareness and awakening to the truth that the Spirit of God is also communicating with us, leading, guiding, giving direction, speaking to us on a daily basis in a powerful way. Because what happens to us when we truly awaken, when we're truly awoke, should we say, when we're truly woke up, when we truly come to this place of an awareness of the divine presence, ever speaking, ever communicating with us, what happens is there's a big change that happens in our life. A big change. In fact, so big, everything changes. Your outlook on life on a day-to-day basis will change. How you speak, how you think, everything begins to evolve and change because you become fully aware of this divine presence in your life. You're so awakened to the point that a lot of things around you don't really even matter. They don't really matter. Because we go through a lot of things simply in this journey of life, but when we're awakened, we're moving through. You know what? The awakened people are always moving. I don't know how many of you are moving when you're sleeping. Maybe you're tossing, maybe you're turning while you're asleep. Maybe your legs are kicking, symbolizing in a dream that you're moving. I know my dog does that way. When he's dreaming, sometimes he's running and his legs are moving because he's in his sleep and he's thinking about moving. But when you're awake, your body is up and it is moving from one destination to another, from the kitchen to the living room. You're moving throughout the house, from the laundry room to the basement. You're doing all these kind of things, whatever it may be. There is movement within your life. And when we're awakened spiritually, we're moving through the day-to-day experiences. We're not stuck there. We're not building up camp there. We're not stationary there, but we're moving through as this wonderful spiritual journey unfolds for us. But what's so important is that we are learning from each experience. It's becomes this awakening that we're not so concerned about what we are experiencing as much as that we're learning from what we're experiencing. That we're really attentive to what we're experiencing. Because the most important spiritual practice for you may be just this, that at the end of the day, you do a daily accounting of what might be this wonderful and most valuable thing that you are asking in your life. What did I just experience? And why? What did I just go through today? And why? What is this experience saying to me? What did I go through? You know, on Friday, I got my booster shot. Yes, I got an early vaccination, so I was in line to get the booster. And, you know, once you took that booster shot, there was just a little bit of like, oh, I don't feel 100% today. But there was just this wonderful pause and awareness to say, my body is this fully intelligent being, this essence of cells that are full of consciousness and intelligence, and they're responding to this vaccine, and they are working the antibodies. They are doing this wonderful, intelligent work within me, and I thought, wow, the intelligence of God designed this body in such a way, and I just felt like God was speaking to me that the whole world, all of God, is intelligent. I felt like this was a wonderful experience to go through. And I felt that there was, in some way, a greater awakening to the design of God's infinite wisdom in humanity and how the body is created. Because when you awaken, you realize something, that God speaks to you all the time. That's right. God speaks to you all the time. And what you are going through is really a conversation with God. That's right. Whatever you're experiencing is really a conversation where you are having an experience where you can pause and say, what was that about? What was I called to learn from? What was the universe saying to me by the experience I just had, by the encounter, by this challenge, by this obstacle, or by this joyous experience, or by this healing, or whatever it may be that you're going through on a day-to-day basis? God is speaking, and you will say, wait a minute. Pastor, you're telling me that God is speaking to everyone? Now, I thought God only spoke to holy persons and pastors and spiritual leaders and priests and television evangelists. Yes. Sometimes we have to make a little distinguish here. Let me pause for a moment. Distinguish between a spicy pizza and God speaking to us, okay? There's a big difference, you know? There's been some people, because that self-centeredness we may call as the voice of God, we have to put it in check and say, wait a minute, is this God speaking to me, or is this about my ego, my selfishness? Is this about my desire to control? Is this about my desire to manipulate a body of believers in some way? Is this about my desire to somehow get across my personal message, my agenda? Or if it's good for one, should it not be good for everyone? Is this voice that I hear in my head something that's fear-based, or something that is fear-based towards someone or some experience? Or is it grounded in love and truth? And is it condemning? Because the voice of God would not be in condemnation, for the voice of God is love. And so when we look at these things, we have to sort through, what has been that voice within? What have you heard? And so we distinguish between that self-centered, foolish voice that may be inspired by a night of turmoil due to a spicy pizza, or is it truly because we waited on the divine presence, or truly resting in the divine presence, that we begin to hear and understand? Because when it comes to God, this divine source of all good is speaking. And the question is not, to whom does God speak? But the question is, who is willing to listen? That's the bigger issue. Because the voice of God is ever ongoing, ever speaking. And a lot of people have got the idea that, well, you know, God spoke 2,000 years ago, and that's why we have the Holy Scriptures. And then God stopped, and God went silent. But let me tell you this, God has been speaking every day down through the ages. From the beginning of time, which we can't even fathom, the voice of God has been there in a creative voice. Let there be light, in that creative essence. You see, God has been speaking in so many different ways, and today, right here and now, God is speaking to us, and God has been speaking to you. It is for those who are willing to listen, for God is talking to us all the time. We have to understand this, for the beautiful passage of Revelation 3:20 says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears, if anyone listens, if anyone's paying any attention to my voice and opens the door, I will come into him or her and eat with him or her, and he or her with me." Let's break that down for a minute. We think about that passage as some sort of passage that is about inviting us to have God come into our life, or inviting Jesus to come into our life. So many of us have seen a beautiful picture that has been depicted of a white man who looks like Jesus, they say, knocking at the door, which is not really a true depiction of Jesus anyway, but knocking at the door saying, I want to come in. Do you ever think about where the knocking may be? That the knocking is on the inside, saying, knocking, let me out. You see, the kingdom of heaven is within. Jesus talks about it over and over again. The scriptures constantly go over and over again saying, the Spirit of God dwells in you. It's in. Not outside, not somewhere in the clouds, not out space. Dwelling in you. And that knocking is in the inside. Would you open the door of your heart? Open the door of your mind. Open the door of your thoughts. Open the door that's within you. That gateway to that consciousness. For the door of our consciousness, our awareness, is the door that knocking has been taking place. And that knocking is that still small voice. That knocking is that voice of God speaking to us. Would you be attentive? Would you be awakened? Would you be alert? Would you think in this way? Would you be like planted by the waters, like a tree that cannot be moved? Be planted in the waters of this awareness of the divine that's in you. Would you be there? For the Spirit is knocking, and that voice is the knocking voice. I lived in Kenya, Africa, for years. And of course, the only way that you would knock on someone's mud hut, because there wasn't a doorbell, there was no hard door, there was no door knocker, but it was an opening to their hut. So what you did was you knocked with your voice. That's right. When you came near, you would yell, "Hodi, Hodi," in Swahili. You would yell, "Hodi," which means, "Can I come near?" And the response would be, "Karibu, welcome, come on in." It would be that kind of journey. So the knocking voice was there. So this scripture was so powerful when I shared it with Kenyans. Oh, I understand that knocking is the voice of God. Because it would be the voice within saying, can I come near to your consciousness? Can I come deeper into your heart? Can I come deeper into your sense of awareness? Can I come deeper and deeper because I'm knocking? Hodi, Hodi, Hodi. Oh, and when the Spirit says, "Karibu, welcome," the door is open. And this scripture has something unique about it. It says, I will come in to him, meaning not from the outside, but into a deeper understanding. I will come in and I will eat. You're like, what's going on? I mean, if I invite the Spirit of God, we're going to have dinner together? Well, in many ways, yes. You see, that idea of having a meal together was about hospitality. And in Middle Eastern culture, it was very important that people understood that when we get together, we eat. Hello, Christians? Don't we kind of understand that? We get together, what all we do? We do eat a lot, don't we? Believers and spiritual people in different communities. Yes, what do we do when we get together? We share food. Why? We share hospitality with one another. We engage in this exchange. We really have this wonderful time of nurturing one another and being nourished in the presence with one another. And that's what this is describing to us. How many of you remember the 23rd Psalm? The beautiful passage in there, the 23rd Psalm, that says, I will lay down a Thou preparest a table for me in the presence of mine enemies. Preparing a table, a feasting, a moment of hospitality, a moment of welcoming, a moment of sharing one with another. You see, in Eastern culture, meals shared brought people into a sense of harmony and oneness. And even yet today, during the peace accords with different governments, the U.S. government or an Egyptian government and an Israeli government coming together, one of the things they would say is, cameras, you cannot film us eating until we've come to an agreement. Because the meal sharing means we're in agreement and in harmony. So even today, you may find the news of governments coming together and trying to work out peace accords and settlements, but they're not filmed eating together only until there's no dining together, there's no sharing and breaking of bread together, until there's been some sense of agreement or coming into unity. What we find then is if you open the door, you are opening the door to this wonderful hospitality of the divine that's already within you. It's already there. But you've closed the door to it. And that which was within, you've closed the door and shut it away. And so what we want to do is this open our lives up in an awakening experience that releases that which is within, the power and presence that you've been created in the image and likeness of God. That's who you are. That power and presence is already in you. It's always been in you. But we need to open the door. Open the door. And let that presence out. Oh, how beautiful it is when we've swung that door open and we're in complete unity and the wonderful hospitality and spirit of the divine, that when we are in the presence of our enemies, what is there? A feasting of love. Behold, I prepare a table in the presence of your enemies. There is a chance to experience this wonderful feasting of love because the divine within you is being released and let out within our lives. So what we find then is this passage doesn't leave you there, but it goes on. Revelation 3:20 and then 3:21 says, he or she who conquers, I will grant them to sit with me on my throne, as I myself conquered and sat down with my Father on his throne. What this passage is saying is, he or she who conquers. What are we conquering? What's there to conquer in life? Our fears. That's right. When we've conquered our fears that are the deaf ears. It's so strange because fear really closes off our ears, doesn't it? You get afraid, you get frightened, what happens? You start stressing. You start worrying. You start now panicking, right? And you can't hear anything. Even if there's someone offering you a solution, you're all caught up in fear and fear and fear, and you can't hear. Your ears are all closed off. You just can't comprehend. There's a solution. But when we conquer the fear, when we release the fear, what does this passage of Scripture say? I will grant that you may sit on my throne. Oh, we'll get to sit on a golden throne somewhere? Oh, no, that's not what it's all about. It's a wonderful metaphor for us because the throne stands for the state of using good judgment. A throne where you might go to a judge or some leader or some king or some sovereign person, and you might go for them for some judgment or resolution about something. And that's where it was symbolic, that you may sit on the throne. In other words, when you have overcome your fear, when you start listening, when you start opening the door to the divine presence and you overcome the fear and stress and worry in your life, you get to sit on the throne. In other words, you receive good judgment. The Spirit speaks to you and gives you the ability to make good judgments, to understand the divine presence within us, that there is guidance. And the voice of God then is guiding you and directing you on your paths, leading and guiding you in every step of the way of your life. And I don't know about you, how many of you say, yes, I felt the voice of God leading me in a specific time, guiding me, giving me full direction. If you've not experienced it, I invite you today to begin to open your life to it because the Spirit is speaking and will guide you. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge God. In all your ways acknowledge God. In all and every way acknowledge God, And the promise is, voila, God will direct your paths. Guidance is there. You will walk in good judgment. You will know how to make good choices. You will be that one who is led and guided by the very presence of the divine within your life. You may say, well, wait a minute. I don't get it. I've been listening for the voice of God. What does that voice sound like? What does the voice of God sound like? Because, so many people take things so literally. We think, does it sound deep? John, go to Mongolia and be a missionary. Or is it soft and like, oh, Anne, go forth because the God in me. We think it's something audible. We think it's that way, and we get so confused by it because we become so literal. But let me tell you, what the voice of God is, the voice of God sounds like this. It sounds like life's experience. That's what the voice of God is. Life's experience. For the very Bible stories are life experiences that are speaking to us. Yet today, we may get so confused because we think we're reading Bible stories and some sort of history movement, some sort of thing that happened. Jesus went from this city and he went to that city. Okay, whatever. Jesus went here, Jesus went there. The disciples did this, they did that. And we're thinking that's all we're talking about is some sort of history. No. These are life experiences that are the voice of God speaking to you. That's what the voice of God sounds like. The voice of God sounds like David facing Goliath and knowing within himself the very power and presence to pick up a stone and having the guidance of knowing that he could take with his slingshot and slay the giant. And that's a beautiful metaphor of God telling you, you know what, Martha? You could pick up a stone and slay the giant in your life. You know what, Holly? It's there for you that there may be Goliaths in your journey. There's possibilities for you to be the overcomer. You see, the voice of God sounds like life experiences. That's how practical the Bible is. For when we read the story of Moses leading the children into liberation, that's you. That's your story. And that's the Spirit of God speaking to you. You, Scott, could lead people into liberation, to set people free through the witness, through the life that you share. When we understand this, we see the beautiful experiences of Peter, who steps out in great faith, though he struggles with believing and trusting. Oh, but that's your story, Barbara. You may struggle. And the Spirit of God is speaking to you and showing you an example where the voice of God sounds like life experiences. You see, God and life are interchangeable. God and life are interchangeable. God is life, and life is God. The very breath of life, the breath of God at very birth is that which is within us. God and life are interchangeable, and life is speaking to you every day. God is speaking to you every day. God and life are interchangeable. 1 Corinthians chapter 8:6 says, to us, ours is one God, the Father, for all things are from him, and we are in him. We're in that presence, in that life, in God. And the Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. God gives you life, and life is God. And when we understand this wonderful comprehension, this wonderful idea, this wonderful awakening within our life, we understand life and God are interchangeable. We know the voice of God then as it speaks to us through life experiences, or we might say God experiences. That's what's speaking to us. God experiences within our life. For this life is this wonderful process that we live, a process of steps or actions taken to achieve a particular end. That's a process. And life is this wonderful process. It is God at work within you. Life is God revealing God and showing God. And life is this wonderful process of you being the revelation of the divine, of being God. God and life are interchangeable, so we understand this. We understand that life is always speaking to us in so many powerful ways of God's love and direction, peace, joy, and giving you the strength and wisdom to to be the overcomer? Because for some reason we ask this question, is life meant to be so hard? Is life meant to be this struggle? You know, a lot of people ask that. A lot of people think that that's what we're called to live, a life that is full of struggle and that is very, very difficult. We make it hard. We make it difficult. We engage the struggle because we're not listening. We're not listening to the voice of God. We're not listening to the life experiences we're going through. We're not listening to the way that the divine is ever communicating. Oh, not in a thundering voice or a whispering feminine motherly voice or whatever it may be that you may think in the audible way of hearing. Oh, the hearing is within. It is deep within us. For Revelation 2:7 says, he who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying. In other words, listen up. Listen. Everyone who has ears to listen, listen. Now, we think this is the ear, but it is the heart and mind that is really listening, comprehending. You know, we can hear a lot of things, but we don't comprehend it. You know, like when someone says, take out the trash, or did you do the dishes? Oh, we could hear it, but we didn't comprehend it, right? When your mother said, make your bed as a kid, did you hear it all the time, or did you not comprehend it by choice? But we have ears to hear. We have a heart to listen, a mind to listen. So let us listen very closely. Because when we're not listening to that inner voice, that still small voice, we travel the road with struggle and stress, and it becomes very difficult. Because God is ever showing you the way to make your life easy. Did you know that? God is ever showing you and revealing you. You know what? Life would be so much easier if, or life would be so much better for you when, because the Spirit is ever teaching and ever showing us and revealing us through life's experiences. You know, some people hear the voice of God through the school of hard knocks. That's right. It's been over and over and over again. They're still making the wrong choice because they haven't been listening. They have been listening to the life experience that they're going through. That the Spirit of God has been saying something through this experience you're going through, and you go, wait a minute, I get it now. Oh, I finally understand. And so what happens over and over again, the Spirit may be saying the same thing to us. And that's why within the Scriptures, you'll find so many stories having the same meaning, or so many stories with different characters but portraying the same message. Why is it being over and over again? Couldn't we get it the first time? Well, wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be wonderful if we comprehended and received everything the first time we heard it? I've had people say to me, Pastor, you've been saying that the Spirit of God is within me, inside me, for years. And just today, it dawned on me. You're right. Or I get it. Or I understand it. I've been praying to this thing outside of me, this being, this something standing up on the clouds in heaven that I call God, only to realize that the divine presence has always been inside me, never leaving nor forsaking. That presence has always been. Oh, how wonderful if they said, if I could have comprehended it the first time I heard it. But you see, that's why it's repeated over and over again. That's why the voice of God is saying things over and over again to us that we simply understand. And how many times do we have to have experiences that simply say, would you trust me? You know what? You've gone through an experience where you trusted God, and you face another one again. And you're still not trusting completely? And the voice has said, would you trust me? Would you trust me? Would you just trust me? You see, life is ever speaking to us through these experiences. And all we need to do is begin to reclaim our oneness with the God within. And that's open the door to our consciousness, open the door to our thinking, open the door to our heart, open the door to our thought life and our understanding that God is already inside and at work and ready to be released and do the work, the miraculous, to manifest, to bring about the accomplishment that we so desire. So wait, you may ask, how can I have a conversation with God? Well, I'm glad you asked. Thank you. Because when you talk to God, lots of times we forget it's a two-way conversation. So let me point out some few things that are very practical for us. For listening to the inner self does take practice because we're not used to that. We're so attuned to all the outside voices. You know, you're more attuned than listening to the TV and the newscaster and the what's going on that is on a comedy show and something else that you're listening to because, or the radio or some song. You're more attuned to that, an outside voice, than the inside voice with you that's been speaking, talking to you. So it takes some practice. This is why we encourage meditation. Meditation is for a time of silence. I don't know, how many of you practice silence? Let me encourage you. Silence is just underrated. It is powerful. Sit. When you are in tune and your mind is not wandering off, going somewhere else, but you brought yourself to this moment, right here, right now, to this silence, to this space, that inner voice becomes so clear within. Prayer, visualization, sitting in silence, reading, writing, these are just a few ways that we can practice that awareness to this inner voice within us. And it always begins with this. First, we have to acknowledge that there is a God. That's right. Simple. Wait a minute. Acknowledge that a God, that I'm awakened to this. I just need to acknowledge. Recognition is so important. Every moment of our day, we need to recognize there is a God that is at work within me. There is God. God is present. God is here in me. I am the revelation of God, and I am here. That's right. Acknowledge. Recognition. Recognition of who and what you are is so crucial for our lives because it begins there. And then that God within you, this presence within you, is to be listened to in a way that you watch for communication. How many of you were expecting the voice of God to speak to you today? Did you wake up and say, God, what are you saying? What are you saying? Because a lot of times we go through our life not even watching communication from God. Not even expecting. Well, I didn't expect God to speak to me today. I didn't expect anything to happen that God would be showing me, guiding me, leading me, directing me in my life. I didn't think that I was called to watch. What did you go through yesterday? What experience? That phone call you had with a friend, or that encounter you had, or that social engagement. What was happening in that? What was God saying? What was being offered to you in a guidance and direction through the experience? Were you watching for communication? And then realize that all of life has been a conversation with God. All of life. God has been saying, I love you, I'm caring for you, I'm your source, I'm guiding you. That presence has been speaking to you all of your life. For life is God, and God is life. And this life has been speaking. This God, we call this divine source, has been speaking, communicating with you. Start seeing your day and everything in it as a conversation with God. That's right. Wow. I woke up and today is a conversation with God. Every life experience is revealing to me the teaching, the guidance, the direction, the peace, the joy, the love that God wants to show me, reveal to me. Help me to be a success in this world, to overcome. I am listening. I am hearing. I am still. For the voice of God is there guiding our lives. Today, I want to ask you, are you awake? Are you awake enough to hear? Are you awake enough to listen? Are you awake enough spiritually to be so in tune that every moment of your life God is speaking to you? What is God saying to you about this COVID-19 experience? What is God saying to you about maybe your finances, blessings, or challenges? What is God saying to you about the job that you lost and the new job that you gained? What is God saying to you about your selling of your home and the new house you're purchasing? What is God saying to you about your vacation and the encounters of the people that you see every single day is a conversation with God? So let's be in tune. Let's listen for where the Spirit of God is speaking each and every moment, leading, guiding. And let's say, here am I, Lord. Here I listen. Am I. I am in tune. Hody, 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 the Spirit is calling as it's knocking on your door. Let the door of your heart swing open, releasing this divine presence as you proclaim, Karibu, welcome. Amen. As we've gathered together, we've been in this divine presence, a presence that has been leading and guiding, ever speaking and ever unfolding wisdom for our lives. And aren't we grateful? So in gratitude, we have a wonderful opportunity to give back, a tangible way of sharing and expressing that gratitude for all that God has blessed us. We sang, I am blessed, I am blessed. When I wake up in the morning till I lay my head at rest, I'm blessed. So in that great gratitude for these blessings, let us give generously. As our ushers come now and share in an opportunity of giving an offering, we encourage you to offer those donations, those gifts, those tithes, offerings. And for those of you who are joining us through our Facebook page or through our YouTube channel, City of Light Atlanta, we want to offer you the opportunity to also participate in expressing gratitude. You can go to our website at www.cityoflightatlanta.com. You'll find a donate button there and offer your gifts as well. Let us now share in the wonderful joy of sharing in generosity. God bless you. Amen. Someone's knocking at your door. Did you listen to that tune? That familiar tune? Amen. Thank you, Scott, for sharing that, because how apropos, Spirit of God knocking at our door. Let's let him in and let that door swing open, that the Spirit may move from within, moving on out into this world. For as we do, we know that we can claim this wonderful peace, this wonderful calm, this wonderful sense of assurance. And it always begins within us, not outside, not from someone else, but within each and every one of us. So please rise as you're able, in body or in spirit. Let's stand together and join in this closing song. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as my center, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me.
Would you pray with me? Let's bow our heads together. This we know to be a divine truth, a truth that resonates within our heart and our life, a truth that is echoed down through the ages, that the divine presence of God within is ever speaking, ever giving voice to guidance, direction, peace, harmony, and love, and so much more. So we rest now in this recognition of this divine presence, that is ever communicating with us, that is not an outside entity, but within us, an entity that we are part of and one with. And in this oneness, we proclaim with a great authority that this is a week of overcoming our deafness, overcoming our inability to hear and comprehend, overcoming that which is fear-based, and allowing our lives now to have an open ear to hear all that God is saying. For the voice of God is the voice of life experiences, and the life experiences we engage in are the voice of God. We claim this now as we become greater aware of that voice, clear, speaking now through all that is around us, in us, through us, and for us. And with great gratitude, then we release this, knowing that we are about to encounter a wonderful conversation each and every day. For every day is a conversation with God. And we're grateful for this experience as we release this truth out now, as together we say, and so it is.
So take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're delighted to have everyone who is with us here in person, as well as those joining us through our live streaming. We want to conclude by offering prayer partners to join with you in affirming prayer. Whatever your need may be, whatever your request, we believe in the power of prayer, and it works. We have seen it over and over again and experienced the wonderful manifesting power of God. If you'd like to have someone pray with you at the close of our service today, we're inviting you to come forward. Prayer partners are gathering right here. Otherwise, join us for food and fellowship and great time of exchanging uplifting words and positive comments and all this good stuff of our practical spirituality as we do so in our social time together. God bless you, and I'll look forward to seeing you joining us next week through our live streaming and our YouTube channel. God bless you.